And
Nothing.
now the baby doesn't matter. The husband doesn't matter. The woman is all the be all. She is like a tyrant. She can decide life and death. And they completely ignore the science behind conception, the science behind the development of a fetus. When they have they got me said it's not a fetus. You know what? That's what they do. They like to adopt scientific sounding words. It's a fetus. It's a zygote. It's a ball of cells. They use scientific terms only when it can dehumanize or when they can spin it in their way. They don't, and then they resent it when I say, well, I think it's a baby. Well, it's a fetus. So they use science as a shield. And they ignore the rest of the science, which is, well, wait a minute, this has unique DNA, it's got fingerprints, it's got eyelids, it can feel pain, it practices swelling, it's got a heartbeat, all of things, it can hear sound. Look, there's billions of products, sold on Amazon for fetal monitoring, and where mommy can put a sound on her belly and can sing to the baby and things like that. This is all known. But yet they ignore that. They deny all of that. They are truly science deniers, except for in the fact, but I'm going to use a zygote, fetus. We've even got an article on this. There's an article. This is from the patch.com. And the title itself, it spins it. Why unconstitutional fetal heartbeat bills beat on. Why is it unconstitutional? The title itself, it already shows their bias.
Their bias, exactly.
Website. What the subtitle is that lawmakers in nearly a dozen states want to be the ones to pass law that would overturn Roe versus Wade. They are already in their title belying their bias that a fetal heartbeat is unconstitutional. They don't want to call it a baby heartbeat. They want to call it a fetal heartbeat. It's all this. It's spin to dehumanize the most vulnerable among us, to dehumanize babies. That's the name of their game, because all they've got, again, is precedent. That's all they're standing on is precedent.
Now, here's something too, Susan. Recently, a federal judge in Kentucky temporarily banned the Kentucky law that prohibits abortion after a fetal heartbeat is detected. Now, what's interesting about that is that and this particular federal judge is not alone. Others have done that as well. But this particular
Judge David J. Hale of the Western District of Kentucky. For all of you guys out there in Kentucky, go visit him and ask him.
Exactly.
Hello, Judge Hale.
Right. He said that there is a possible distinction of when a mother becomes aware she is pregnant, and that might be a line in the sand. So what he's actually, I think, and this is just my take on it, by saying that is it possible that you can, if this woman is aware that she's pregnant, that becomes the line in the sand, meaning that this law.
So what you're suggesting is maybe we're advancing it even farther, closer, I should say, even closer to conception. So because there's conception, and then there's about between 22 and 28 days until a heartbeat can be detected. But in between that, those 22, 20, let's say 25 days for sake of argument right now. So between 0 and 25 days, somewhere in there, before then, a woman may know that she is pregnant. And so he may be, what you're thinking is that perhaps Judge Hale is moving the line even closer to that, to say, look, we don't have to wait for a heartbeat. If the woman knows she's pregnant, maybe that's the line in the sand, because once you know you're pregnant, that's another person that's
right.
And at that point, if that would be a knowledge test, if the woman knows, then she can't harm this other person. That it would, I guess, to be equivalent to assault. That would be very interesting.
Because that's how I read it, and that's how I saw it, is that by saying this, by making that statement, it to me, it was like a trigger. The trigger, when
knowledge
that trigger,
is a trigger.
Yeah, knowledge is a trigger.
That would be very interesting. Of course, ACLU would just get, the 16-year-old, the 18-year-old to come in and say, I didn't know I was pregnant, right? Because then if knowledge is the only test, that's subjective. That you can be ignorant. You can feign ignorance even.
Right.
That's why a heartbeat bill if something it's detectable. And guess what? Whenever that heartbeat starts, maybe there are other, look, there might be, I am not a doctor, but I'll bet you that there are other indicia that are measurable even before 25 days or 20 days in. You know, I mean, you can move it back to implantation, right? I mean, there's got to be a point at which maybe even, but you know what? I'm glad that we're at that point. We're
Right.
under 30 days. We're in, if we can push the standard that was set by Roe versus Wade, viability, if we can erode viability all the way back to heartbeat, which is what we're talking about. These are this is what you're saying, the erosion. It's like waves on the sand of the beach, or it's like D-Day and Normandy. It's waves and waves and waves of legal assaults on Roe versus Wade. If we can move it back to day 30, day 25, and say, okay, heartbeat, that will rule out, that will save, this way, that'll save many, many lives.
Yeah, because you think about
it, thousands of babies will be saved.
The Supreme Court in 93 or 1973 had 28 weeks. Now we're down to 20 weeks. And with the heartbeat, or with the heartbeat bill, it moves it down to perhaps anywhere from, let's say, 25 days. And then with conception. So again, as you said, we're seeing this erosion, and actually, and I call it the life zone. We're going into into the life zone.
We're expanding the life zone.
Exactly.
Expanding the life zone. Exactly. And it, you know what? It's sad that we shouldn't even have to, because before the 60s, before there was the pill and stuff, people look. Babies are a blessing. Babies are a gift from God. They're life. They're renewal. That's how the universe renews itself. That is the it's the eternal hope and chance of the next generation. Just when you ever get very cynical about, oh, our government is a mess and we've got the swamp, well, that's why we should lay hope in millennials and in Gen Z and the generations after that, because they are waves of hope. They're waves and waves and waves of hope, of evolution, of life coming, renewing itself, making the world a better place, and standing on the shoulders of those who've gone before. That's how anything has ever gotten accomplished. That's how electricity has been now created, so that we've got things like cell phones and everything. I mean, it's just, without that, the ever renewing generation after generation of life, we'd still all be living in caves. You know, I mean, but yet we've got political factions who want to kill the next generation. They're literally killing hope. They want to, if they are successful, that the entire crazy notion that the world cannot sustain life, that somehow we're all going to starve and die, and climate change, and oh my gosh, we've only got 12 years to live, according to Ocasio-Cortez. I mean,
or Beto. Beto just said it too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that guy. I mean, he's a dirt eater, okay? Beto or dirt eater, all right? And he was like, did you read about this guy? He would like spring up on his wife, and he would have like psycho shower things. He'd like scare his wife, I guess, with, repeating it with psycho showers. And then he one time pulled some particularly green baby poop out of his kid's diaper and put it on a plate and plated it for his wife and said, hey, it's avocado. I mean, what kind of you gotta be kidding me. This is, I'm on Bizarro Beto. I mean, can we just, y'all listen.
I mean, think about this. This guy, you said, Susan, this guy, when he lost the election to Senator Cruz, he ate dirt.
Yeah. He went out and ate dirt, but it's some sort of cosmic like cleansing thing. I'll tell you, that's a high colonic. I'll tell you that right there. Oh my gosh, what a whack job! I mean, what a bloody whack job this guy is. I mean, I can't. And then he put both feet in his mouth when he said, "Well, yes, I sometimes help my wife, raise the kids," or kind of like putting her down. Like, it's just, this guy has got. I mean, there's no gravitas there. There's not even common sense there. The guy's a whack job. He also wrote this whole. It's been revealed that he did this writing fantasy, kind of like it reminds me of something like out of the author of Pet Sematary. He composed this, article about how he had this fantasy of, I was driving my car and I saw these children in the crosswalk, and I decided to rev my engine and I hit them until I heard them cry. I mean, he wrote this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not making it up.
No, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, he's a whack job. You're right.
He's a whack job. He's a total. Anyway, I'm a little bit off topic, but in any event, I mean, this is the Democrat Party. This is who he raised, what, $6 million?
$6 million, right.
6 million. And these are the same people who say that, well, a heartbeat doesn't mean that that it's a baby, it's really a fetus. They're disconnected from reality. They're just disconnected.
And so we're going to talk about that in an upcoming show. And I think to close this out, and it's important that we again focus on the fetal heartbeat, because that really is at the heart of this, I think, debate.
So to speak.
Yeah, and and
not to make fun, but it is. It's the heart. It's the heart of life.
Yes,
the heartbeat
exactly.
bill is the heart of the pro-life movement. It is.
Right, right. And so keep that in mind, that what we're really fighting for, and what you're fighting for too, is to save the future. It's to make certain that those millions of unborn babies actually have an opportunity. And with states, again, like Georgia and Kentucky, Ohio, and many other states that are entertaining this, you have to join in and learn more about what it means for your child's future, unborn child's future, and what it means for this nation as well. So we're going to keep focusing on this and hammering away at this, because this is crucial. This is crucial in terms of the 2020 election. That's right around the corner. The president has already had 2 successful nominees that are now sitting on the Supreme Court, with Justice Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, but we need more.
We need 2 more.
We need at least.
Breyer, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I think they need to retire.
Well, you know what? We know that Breyer, she just, I'm sorry, that Ginsburg, she just had a birthday, so she's now 86.
86 and still going strong, but I think she needs to enjoy some retirement and enjoy her years.
Some me time. She needs some
me time. Yes, some me time. I'm hoping that Trump will get 2 more.
Yeah,
that would be nice. That'd be 4 appointments in his first term. Would that be just one? This is why elections matter. This is why. Yeah. If you don't do anything else, you must vote for the most conservative presidential candidate who can win, because he's the guy who's appointing these judges. Like, Judge Hale. He's in Western District of Kentucky. I believe he's a federal judge, not a state judge.
He's a federal judge.
So that means he was appointed by a president. We don't know which one yet, but that's how that happens. If you want conservatives, or if you want judges who are strict constructionists and actually look at the law and say, well, is this constitutional by comparing it to the Constitution? The best way to do that is to vote for a president who tends toward conservative principles, because he will more than likely pick those types of judges. That's why the left is going insane and trying to make sure that Trump doesn't have a second term, and is actually they still won't give it up. They're still trying to have him impeached somehow, because he is doing a heck of a good job of populating the bench with conservative judges.
But you know what, Susan? Here's the thing. I think actually they may have given up on impeachment. I'll tell you why. Because now they're going after packing the court. And
yes, they want to do that, and as soon as they've got to win first. And
you got to win first.
They win, then they're talking about this is just like they dusted off the New Deal. Now it's Green New Deal. So they're dusting off Roosevelt's attempt to pack the court. That was way back when, and that's all they got. They just have to like they're relying on precedent with Roe versus Wade. That's all they got. They're basically dusting off Plessy versus Ferguson, the notion of precedent to support Roe versus Wade. They're now reaching back into Roosevelt's time and World War II era type stuff and saying, well, New Deal, and well, let's pack the court. Didn't work then, not going to work now, and that's why we have to stay vigilant and keep watching these sneaky Democrats who they don't have a new thought in their head. They're just tyrants. That's all they are.
And I'm with you, Susan. So again, thank you for joining us on American Exceptionalism. This has been a wonderful topic. We're going to keep focusing on this topic, expanding the topic, getting your input as well, because we have to fight. There is no other option but to fight on behalf of those who cannot protect themselves, those who are unborn. And I have to tell you, that's a very noble fight. It's a very, I think, important fight, essential fight for the freedom that they deserve. the freedom to be born.
It is the American fight, because
Absolutely.
America is founded on individual liberties, and that is the American fight.
Exactly.
That's why we're here, to fight for the
Exactly. So we invite you to join in with us each and every time that we focus on this, because it's important. It's important for you as well. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.
America.
Bye.